そのテーブルの上に写真がありますけれども、実はこれはポリネシアの
These are pictures of the French nuclear tests carried out in the Polynesian islands.
写真なんですね。これはモルロア環礁とファンガタウファ環礁というところで、フランスが核実験を1960年の終わりから70年代の初期にかけて100以上の
Most of us are not informed or don't know about them.
で、半分は空で大気圏で、半分は海でやってるんですね。で、こういうことは、私たちはほとんど知らされていない。
Did you know about these tests?
ご存知でしたか？
ほとんど知りませんね。
核実験をどっかでやってるっていうことはよく報道されてますけど。
No, not really. They had talked about tests being conducted somewhere, but I didn't know concretely where.
ゆりこちゃんはこんな写真
Yoriko,
前見たことあるかな？
have you seen pictures like this?
はい。
Yes,
広島に
when I went to Hiroshima.
広島っていうか田舎に行った時に原爆の写真があって、でこれと似たようなのを見たことがある。
That cut I just made from Yoriko into the bunker here was a traditional hard edit, cutting tightly from one scene to another. I made such a cut in this case in order to knit together the themes of Hiroshima and the French nuclear testing with the lunacy of an underground bunker that isn't underground and that has 4 small electric cooking plates for 1,500 people.
あらっと思ったところ、もう顔は黒いし、もう分からなかったです。ここだここだって言ってみたら、なるほど、声を聞いたら親父の声だったんですよね。ただもうここがボコッともげてね、で背中の方はいっぱい傷で、ここがずっとこうなと傷がいっぱいあった。それでもう看護婦さんもおったんですが、つける薬がないんですね。
My father was very badly injured on his back, but although he was seriously hurt, the first thing he said to me was, "How are you? Are you okay?" Forgetting his pain. He was on the verge of death, but he was worrying about me. Anyway, when I saw him and heard him, I was encouraged a lot.
元気だったかい、無事だったかい。で、私を反対に慰められましたです。
Mr. Hamada collects Buddhas. He has acquired hundreds and hundreds, some of which he pulled from the ruins of Hiroshima, some of which he made with his own hands. Mr. Hamada has made it his lifelong duty to collect these figures in order to console the spirits of those who were killed, the spirits of those he gave water to, and the spirit of his father.
これね、数字で言うとね、これ例えばね、10人の赤ちゃんが生まれるでしょ。
I'll explain. In the case of Bangladesh, if 10 babies are born, 2 of them will surely die before they are 1 year old. And in Africa, it can be as many as 7 babies out of 10 who will die because they cannot get food, or when they become ill, they cannot be cured, or they don't get vaccines. While in Japan, very few babies die.
戦争なんかにお金とか使わないで、 そんだったらそういうことにお金使って、
I think it will be better to spend money to help such babies and not spend money on wars.
いやその通りじゃね。
You are quite right. Yoriko is right.
なかなかそういうふうに
However, the whole world is not working in that way.
どうしてそうならないんだろうね。
Why does it not work in that way?
問題でありいろんな問題なのね。
Because of political and other
と
problems.
されて悪いことはすぐやめられると。
If we were living in a world where good things were a priority and evil things were stopped immediately, we would have no problem. But the reality is the reverse. Evil things are carried out quickly, and good things are not. If the purpose of politicians was to undertake only good things, however, in reality, politicians themselves commit evil things. That's why problems arise. There lies the difficulty.
The journey.
All right, Peter Mansbridge with David Holton back live now from Quebec City. That was a rebroadcast of the arrival ceremonies that took place about 1 hour ago here in Quebec City. Now, David, I don't want to be too cynical, but I think we do have to keep in mind that in terms of the agenda list for the United States, for President Reagan, Canada is not at the top of the list. But it is important, I guess, for him to look good on this trip and for the relationship to look good.
I think it is important, Peter. I think the Americans particularly are looking for one major thing to come out of this summit, and that is an impressive display of alliance solidarity. The Americans have been very upset by what some of them call the New Zealand disease, the fact that a small member of the Western Alliance, New Zealand, should have challenged U.S. Arms control and nuclear policy. They're very interested in containing that kind of dissent within the alliance, and that's why they think a meeting here with Prime Minister Mulroney, extremely supportive of U.S. arms control policies, will be very useful, particularly going into the Geneva arms talks.
$555 million. As the American flag is burnt, note the way in which the media concentrates on this one single event. Note again how the media stand on the police side of the barriers. In this instance, near the camera team, which the police are using to record the faces of those demonstrating. As the CBC and Radio Canada made no attempt to record the feelings and opinions of those gathered here, it is likely that the Canadian security forces ended up with much more videotape of this protest. Certainly the police will see far more of the demonstrators on television than ever will the Canadian public.
Yoriko, what countries do you know?
アメリカとか、イギリスとか、オーストラリアとか、ソ連とか、カナダとか、とドイツとか、
Germany, Africa, and so on.
といろいろな。
それはやっぱりそういう国はどうして覚えたの？
How do you know about these countries?
なんかいろいろオリンピックとか。
By watching the Olympics on TV.
テレビで見たり。
ブラジルがあるじゃん。
あ、そう。
アフリカのことは何して？
How do you know about Africa?
なんかよく
From a campaign raising money for hungry African children.
募金を送ろうとかなんかそういうのでよく聞いたことが。
ソ連については？
What do you know about the USSR? Not much.
アジアの
Do you know countries in Asia?
名前だけなら聞いた。
I just know names.
一番近い国はどこ？
Which is the nearest country to Japan?
中国？
China
何？
and
どこに？
日
Korea.
本に一番近い
中国とか韓国とか。
国。それアジアの。
What do you know about Korea? Not much.
韓国っていう国は聞いたことあるの？
はい。
どういうことしてる？韓国については難しいかな？
あんまり知らん。
行ってみたい？
はい。
まだ小学校ね4年生だと。
For a fourth grader, it might be difficult to talk about the world. As parents, what do you think is the role of education?
教育っていうのはまあ学校教育ね、家庭教育いろいろあると思うんだけども、一体教育の役割っていうのは何なんだろうと。
さっきのね、話。
I think that education must help to create a common sense that tells us that war is miserable and victimizes many people.
市民というレベルで言えば、あるいは国民って言った方がいいのかもしれませんけど、同じ人間ではないかという部分があるわけですね。で、その同じ人間であるっていう部分っていうのは非常に常識的なことなん
If
だろ
all
う
the
と思いますけ
countries,
ど。
America and the USSR, do it properly, it could lead to abolishing wars in the long run.
人々を犠牲にするもんだと、そういうですね、その常識っていうものをきちっと育てるですね、作り上げていくっていうその教育のベースをですね、作っておかないといけないんじゃないかな。また抽象的になりますけどね、そういうコモンセンスをやっぱりきちっと持たせるその教育っていうのがどうしても必要なんだろうと思うんですけどね。それをソ連であっても日本であっても あるいはその他の国でやってもきちっとやってれば、これを長い目で見ればですね、その戦争をなくするというそのことにつながる部分じゃないんでしょうかね。
そうすると今の日本の教育はそれをやって
Do
る
you think that Japanese education is doing a proper job?
やっぱりですね、その例えば
The fact that we don't know about the daily life of Russian people signifies something is not quite right.
知らないというような部分
I know it is difficult,
あるとすれば、
but we have to create a level where everybody can go hand in hand, regardless of the cultural difference.
というふうにちょっと思うんですけどね。そういうお互いにこうその文化の違いとかそういうものを乗り越えた上でみんなが手を握り合える場みたいなもの、非常に難しい問題だと
But
思い
some
ます。
kind of interference, I don't know if it is political or governmental,
作り上げて
is distorting things little by little,
そういうものを
and this serves as a blocking factor in our understanding each other
どこかで
and each other's races.
まあ、国家権力なのか何か政治なのか分かりませんけども、少しずつこう歪められてきてて、そのことがトータルとしてお互いの民族の理解をですね得られない、人間としてのあれを得られないものとして障害として壁みたいになってるんじゃないかっていう、なりうるんじゃないかというふうに思うんだけど。
Speak and ask for all the things you want. Otherwise, they won't give you anything. I have a request. It is about jerseys for the cold season, and socks and shoes. Our feet become cracked when we walk barefoot in that season.
Well, I'm not sure if they know all this specific information, but I'm sure that they know that Honeywell builds. They do. I'm sure that they know that Honeywell is involved with the Defense Department because it's we have a monthly newsletter, and it comes out and explains the different areas that Honeywell is involved in, and sometimes there are articles about how a certain section is progressing along and so on, and these things are all mentioned in the newsletter. So I'm sure that all the employees are aware that Honeywell is involved, but I'm not sure to what degree they know the exact involvement.
How much do they talk about in day to day at your working place? How much do they talk about Honeywell and the nuclear arms race? Is this ever mentioned? Ever discussed?
It's never been brought up to me. I've brought it up to several people. I asked them how they felt about working for a company that is contributing to that, and their reaction is basically they don't feel like they are involved in that because they're so remote. And they don't really do anything directly involved, so they think that Honeywell, the other part of Honeywell, is kind of like another company, really.
Es lo que había de ver también este presidente y aquel, ¿verdad? Que ya no destruyan tanto aquí a...
We are now in a worse position than before. Look at the oil that we produce. 1 liter for 150 pesos.
Y cuando llega a la provincia, 1 litro 50 pesos.
People here can't afford this. And we are the main producer.
Entonces también quisiéramos que vieran los presidentes, ¿verdad?
So we should ask the presidents to realize that we live in such bad conditions. They should care more about these things. About 50% of the Mexican oil goes to the United States. This is why the States is so interested in Mexico.
Si es como el azúcar, que es el elemento de primera, todo lo jala para Estados Unidos.
The best always goes to the States. Everything we get is second class.
Y nosotros que somos cañeros, quebramos la caña, nos dan de segunda. De primera, toda para Estados Unidos.
The first class things go to the States, in everything.
Trenes, carga y carga el azúcar.
¿Y pagan bien a los que hacen el trabajo?
Van a pagar. Nosotros no. Nosotros nos sale caro todo. Y somos los que sembramos la caña.
Like the production of cane. Even the bureaucrats in the unions, they buy their station wagons.
Todos allí se reparten, todos andan con coches, camionetas, y uno aquí que siembra la caña ni en burros. Andamos. Sí, así está.
But for us, the producers, we have nothing. The sugar goes to the north. Here we stay without anything.
El azúcar sale para el norte, para allá, otras naciones. Y aquí nosotros siendo dueños del petróleo y todas las cosas de valor. Pero entre los gobiernos hacen el contacto y allá que estén chillando, qué cosa.
Michel, up there. Security. Michel, up there. Wide shot. Take one of the security agents around.
Michel, sécurité, Michel.
$580 million. For a brief second, President Reagan turns to look at the demonstration. The only time in his visit he will even acknowledge those concerned at his presence. In the foreground, a Secret Service agent, one of many you will keep seeing in this film. Note the suitcase in his left hand. The suitcase with the football is now safely in the lobby of the hotel. with the president.
There was a period of time when the demonstrators were being arrested outside of the gate, and not outside of the gate, but those who came across the fence. And I saw an awful lot, and I had an awful lot of mixed emotions going on inside of me at the time. The reason why is because I was working in the gym, and that's the place where the government agents were holding the demonstrators, and they were processing them, fingerprinting them, photographing them, and everything. And I saw the treatment, and I heard the negative comments, and it really got to me when the staff was calling them communists and hippies and so forth. And I got to a point where, you know, our facilities were closed down that day, and so the majority of the staff that I supervised was in there. And finally, I just made the comment to them that they were, in actuality, preserving our rights for freedom of speech. And from that point on, it seemed to kind of stop the negative comments from the staff. And it also gave me the realization inside that I could speak, that I could make a little bit of difference by exercising my rights for freedom of speech.
Ah, l'arabe classique.
Très peu d'Algériens parlent l'arabe classique.
Ah, c'est une langue d'élite.
Classical Arabic? It's the language of the elite, an artificial language which is always used on TV, on the radio, in the papers, etc.
Ouais, est sans cesse utilisé à la télévision, à la radio, dans les journaux et tout. Et parallèlement, il y a absolument aucun média qui utilise les langues populaires de l'Algérie. Il y a aucun journal en berbère, il y a aucun journal en...
And yet at the same time, there is no medium using the language of the Algerian people. Berber is not spoken on TV. Oh, a few words of common Arabic are sometimes slipped in, but it only happens in folklore programs which have nothing to do with the true realities of the country.
Et les informations, par exemple, si on prend le journal télévisé au niveau de la RTA, c'est la radio-télévision algérienne, c'est strictement l'arabe classique.
And if you watch the news on the Algerian television, it's only classical Arabic which is being spoken, and nobody understands a word of what is being said.
La quasi-totalité de la population, la quasi-totalité des auditeurs, des téléspectateurs ne comprennent rien, strictement rien, à ce qui se dit dans les informations.
Et d'ailleurs, quand c'est l'heure du journal télévisé...
In fact, when it's news time, people systematically turn their TV off.
4 years ago, during Reagan's first Canadian visit, there was a big and peaceful demonstration on Parliament Hill in Ottawa, a demonstration about acid rain. Today, here in Quebec City, there was another demonstration, but this one became rough. Tom Kennedy was there.
About 1,000 demonstrators showed up, representing at least 6 different groups, all here to make their own point. In the beginning, it was peaceful. Then most demonstrators left. Those who stayed behind were not so quiet.
This is what happens when you... Okay.
Police arrested 6 people and charged them with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. It was rough, but not unexpected. Demonstrations have become almost as much a part of a presidential visit as security, and that security has been intense. During the entire demonstration, a video camera was scanning the crowd. RCMP cameramen were busy too. It's all part of a security net the RCMP and American Secret Service have been setting up for...
How did you hear about the evil effects of the atomic testing? From the news on television?
e ai te radio. Me warawara roa te whami e i te oe radio taratu. I nia i te vea e i nia i te mau hoa popa ai hoa. I hare mai nāt whenua popa ti hoa I mātou. Ti hoa I ane ruti tāna teite.
No, in those days there was no television, and the families with the radio were rare. It was from the Europeans who came here. They showed us articles and pictures from papers over there, and they explained things to us. And now, from all that we can observe, and from what the Polynesians say in talking about their fish meat, it has gone completely bad throughout the Tuamotus, and we can no longer eat it. On our atoll, the fish are poisoned. We can't claim for sure that it is atomic poisoning. There are all sorts of things that they threw away into the sea. Perhaps it is from eating those that the fish became poisonous in the Tuamotus.
The Latrobe Valley, in the southeastern corner of Australia, in the state of Victoria. Here, if my accounting is correct, wedged into this small valley, there is a concentration of up to 10 industrial and energy-producing plants. A paper mill, a briquette factory, a cement works, a charcoal plant, a pilot coal-to-oil project, and 5 power plants. These power plants, isolated in this beautiful valley, as the nuclear test site for France is isolated in French Polynesia, produce the energy that serves the entire state of Victoria and supply 80% of the energy needs for the huge metropolitan area of Melbourne.
That photo there just keeps coming back. It's amazing to me.
Which one is that, Ken?
That's the one there with, it's just leveled the area totally right off. That's Nagasaki. And it's unreal to me that the force is so concentrated in such an area, whereas in the background of that photo, must be chimney stacks 200, 300 feet high, and they're still standing. And not only just one, there's half a dozen of them.
If it was a modern bomb, those chimney stacks would not be standing.
That's right.
If it was instead of being 22,000 tons of high explosive, if it was a bomb of 1 or 2 million tons of high explosive, those chimney stacks would not be standing.
No, that's right.
Marianne, at your school, working with youngsters of 9, 10 years old. Now, how often does this subject come up? For example, how much have you or your colleagues spoken with the children before about Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Oh, very little really. We celebrate the Nagasaki Day once a year. The children make their cranes, their paper cranes. Basically, very little is taught. Literature books, there's possibly 2 at the school, and that's all. But there are no prints like these. Nothing in this form. No textbooks or anything available. And I guess it's really up to individual teachers.
What do you mean when you said they celebrate it? the victory?
No, they don't celebrate it. They acknowledge it.
Oh. Yeah, like Anzac Day or something like that. Yeah.
You mean they build cranes to commemorate the tragedy?
That's right. It comes from the literature book Siddhartha and the 1,000 cranes, and the children make 1,000 cranes. And they hang them in the library.
Marion, do you often talk with your colleagues at school, the other teachers, about why you don't talk about Hiroshima and Nagasaki so much, or why the subject isn't dealt
really.
with?
No. Actually, it's never come up.
Ken, what about at your working place with the guys you work with on the construction sites where you work? How much does this... Can you remember any of the men ever talking about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, for example? Ever talking about that?
Oh, not so much Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but the fact of nuclear war has come up quite often just recently because of the publicity in the TV and in the press. But a lot of people that I've talked to have got strong feelings about it, but they don't want to say anything about it because they feel that they're getting branded with a label of being a weirdo or something like that, because there's been so much adverse publicity for protesters and people who seem to be jumping on the bandwagon for something to do. And that label seems to have carried right down through the workplace anyway with me, because when I've asked the question once or twice to a couple of fellas, some friends of mine that I've known for years and years, they thought, oh, you know, you're becoming a greenie because you wanted to discuss something that's going to be very vital to us in the next 12 months or in the near future.
In July 1985, in the New Zealand harbour of Auckland, French agents working for the French government blew up the Greenpeace vessel Rainbow Warrior and killed a crew member. Economic pressure from France, including the threat to refuse to allow Britain to buy New Zealand butter, has forced the release of the French agents from their prison in New Zealand.
Are there many people here who knew about the 100 and more nuclear tests in Polynesia? We didn't count them as they came along, but still we do hear about them. Do you mean it has become banal, an everyday thing? I think it's even more alarming than that. We are given information from time to time. This gentleman is right there. We are told a small article in the paper, a news flash on the television. They are always short little bits of information. But that keeps everyone happy, because there is always one person to tell you he heard about something on such and such a day. But as far as the entire population is concerned, it's a fact that one does not get the chance to watch a full program in which the whole process is being shown. That's why it all remains rather vague. I would be a liar to say that I had not heard about Mururoa, but I certainly did not know that there had been 100 nuclear tests over there. And I think to myself, good heavens, 100 is really a lot. Why didn't I know that? After all, why does it happen over there? Why in Mururoa? I admit, in fact, that I don't know the answers to many questions. I have vague ideas. I think that's the case for nearly everyone here.
If one is to judge by the words of welcome from the demonstrators, Ronald Reagan was not received with the same warm reception by everyone. At its height, the demonstration numbered over 2,000 people, organized into groups identified by banners such as the Peace Coalition and Greenpeace. An American flag on display was the object of particular scorn. While the Peace Coalition retreated from the demonstration after a good demonstration, everything seemed to be in order and going smoothly. But it was at that particular moment that things heated up.
In this Radio Canada coverage of the demonstration, note here the concentration on one 30-second shot of the police arresting one of the young men. This single scene, used at length and absorbing 25% of the total coverage of this event, has absolutely nothing to do with the purpose and reality of the demonstration itself, or with why the people are gathered here. On the same day, in Australia,
members of the Friends of the Earth movement who were fined in the Melbourne Magistrates Court today following an anti-nuclear protest have vowed to continue their protests. 7 people were fined after they chained themselves to the doors of the Western Mining Corporation office in the city last year. Mark Burrows was in court today for this report.
These are the 7 members of the Friends of the Earth who appeared in court this morning. They all faced the same charge of willful trespass following their occupation of the Collins Street office of the Western Mining Corporation in October last year. Western Mining are one of the principal partners in the Roxby Downs uranium mine. This is Mr. Leslie Dodd, the Manager of Administration for Western Mining. He told the court the 7 demonstrators chained themselves to the doors on the 29th floor. He said they were also strapped together with wire rope, which was padlocked. He said he told them they were being a nuisance and he asked them to leave, but he was totally ignored. The police then moved in.
Note the technique used here to prevent these people from actually speaking.
One of those arrested and who pleaded guilty was Simon Dickinson. He told the court, "It was not with malicious or criminal intention that I trespassed on the office. My intent was to bring to public awareness my concern about the proliferation of nuclear weapons." Another who pleaded guilty was Marion Kerrin. She said, "As a mother of an 8-year-old child, I am very disturbed about the effect that uranium mining will have on her and children after her." The magistrate found all 7 protesters guilty. He offered all of them a 12-month good behaviour bond, but 6 of them declined, preferring to pay a $100 fine. A spokesman for those arrested said despite losing today's case, the action against Western Mining Corporation would continue. The next protest action against the company is planned as part of the anti-nuclear rally to be held on the 31st of March in the city. It's expected to attract 100,000 people. Mark Burrows for Eyewitness News.
The sport of scuba diving has been hit by a huge rise in reported cases of the bends.